Good afternoon to all. Today with us we have Dr. Rajesh Singh. He is Deputy Director of Deputy Librarian in University of Delhi. And today he's going to discuss on the topic that how to access the legal digital information resources which are available in our CLC library also, as well as they will also cover the in general perspective. So since you know that law faculty library is a very rich library and it's a reputed library in the country because the premium institutions maintain this. So on this aspect, Dr. Rajesh Singh will discuss with us. So now hand over to Dr. Rajesh Singh, sir. You can start, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Meena. Good afternoon, friends. Today,
yes.
Okay. Kindly allow me to share the screen, please.
Yes, yes, allow.
Good afternoon, friends. Today, we shall discuss about the legal digital information resources, how to access it. And these resources are from subscription, also what we are subscribing in Delhi University, as well as some of the important open access resources which you can access from anywhere, right? So next 45 to 50 minutes with me, please. We continue. In today's presentation, I will speak on what are the features of electronic resources or digital resources, how to retrieve the information precisely. I understand that most of you might be a good user of Google, but please believe me, many a times we are not able to articulate what exactly we are looking for, and we are not able to identify the source and identify the ways and means how to find out the information precisely, which is relevant to your query. So we will see what are the strategies and how we can proceed for online information retrieval. And then I will speak on open access digital information resources, that is free content which is available from multiple sites. And then I will let you know how you can access to the subscribed digital content from your home, what is the procedure, and then what are the subscribed digital information which is very important in legal studies. And the last will be how to be ethical in use of information, in use of rather plenty of information which is almost available on a click of a button. Now, so see, when we ask about the features, when we talk about the features of digital information or electronic information, please remember it's a huge information reservoir. That means it's a big library. So what you need to do is be very precise in your information query itself. If your query is precise, you will retrieve information precisely. If your query is not precise, you won't be able to retrieve your information precisely. And if you are retrieving in hundreds and thousands number of results, it is of no use. You won't be able to see everything, analyze everything, and find out what is relevant and what is precise for your information requirement. Please remember, this digital platform or electronic platform provides up-to-date information. Even in many cases, the information which is about to come in print after 2 or 3 months, that information is electronically also accessible to you. So it's a well in advance, advanced access medium for information. It supports multimedia format. You can have textual material, you will have images, you will have videos, you will have audios. Videos could be animated videos, or it could be real videos. This format is quite interactive. When I say interactive, that means there are links. Even in references also you will find links. You find DOI, you click to the DOI and you are on the full text of the information. In a particular research paper, if there is a DOI, click to the DOI and you are on the full text of information, depending upon your authenticity to look to it or to find to or to retrieve to it. The retrieval of information on digital platform is very quick, very easy and very quick, provided you know some of the methods, some of the ways of identifying what exactly you are looking. You will be able to easily and quickly retrieve information from the digital platform. This platform is 24/7 available. That means it is always available, and not only that, it is equally available. It is always equally and simultaneously available to all of you, wherever you are. Even one single research paper can read by all of you sitting at different places at the same time. So this is quite versatile format of information communication. It supports multidisciplinary approach to information. So being in law, what I believe that you are not confined only to law. You need to find out, or you need to study some part of society, some part of business, some part of economics, some part of politics. So everything is there, and electronically you can club together not only one database from other databases, also not only one journal, all the journals from one database, from more than one database, and you can make your search confined to whatever you are requiring from multiple disciplines. So this facility electronically, it is possible. The information base is peer reviewed. When we talk about subscribed databases, there is no doubt about it. And whatever open access databases I am going to explain, you will also find peer reviewed information from those databases. There are various search options. We will see to those search options when I proceed further, because first we will talk about information retrieval. There are special services like a selective dissemination of information and alerts. You can create an alert for citations, for a paper, for an author, for a subject, for an institution, and even you can create an alert for a specific search. That means, see, for a particular query, you have made a perfect search today, and if you create an alert for that search query, in future, you are not required to make the search. You will be alerted automatically in your mail that following research information has been added to the database, which is close to your query. So these facilities are available. These are the features, and in many of the databases, you find the way how to cite. So there are standardized citations available in many of the databases. Now coming to information retrieval strategy, see, in almost all the databases and even in Google also, what we have generally been doing is we go to the basic search, the single query box, and put our requirement and find out the information. But if you go to the advanced search page of Google, or for that sake, any of the database, you will have multiple search windows where you can put different keywords in different permutations and combinations, and that will help you to refine your search query and find out exactly what you are looking for. Your search results could be very precise. Now coming directly to how to make a search. I propose 5-6 steps, and these are not to be remembered. Just simply put in your practice, and they will definitely help you to find out relevant and precise information from whatever databases, from whatever source you are trying to locate a piece of information. The first and the most important thing is, or the first step is, state what you want to find. That means you can write down on a piece of paper what exactly you are looking for. Here, 2 examples are there: cognitive architecture of the depressed and globalization and its impact on the Indian working class. Now, if we identify what are the keywords, that comes to the second step of making a search. In the first example, we have cognitive architecture and depressed. These are two important words and these are treated to be keywords. In the second example, we have globalization and Indian working class. Many of you may be thinking that impact is also a keyword, but it is not, because if we put impact as a keyword, all the papers which deals or which has the words like globalization and Indian working class, they will be excluded from your search because impact is not there. However, in those papers also, those who are dealing with globalization and Indian working class, in those papers also, the impact or effect is discussed. So impact is implied, it is not a keyword. The third step is to select synonyms and find variant word forms. Synonyms for what? Synonyms for the keywords which you have selected. Let me give you one more example, very simple example where you can understand it. Somebody is looking for economic development in India, right? Now the keywords in that query or that requirement is economic development and India. If we look for the synonymous terms to the keywords, we find that there are various synonymous terms like economic growth, economic progress. Now think of a situation, if we are simply searching for economic development and India, what we are doing, we are leaving all those papers where authors have used either the term growth or the term progress, right? However, development, growth, and progress, they come to the same meaning. So we need to find out the synonyms for the selected keywords. And once we have identified the synonyms and variant word forms, when I say variant word forms, there are change of spelling for British and American English, or singular and plural. So we need to identify those words also. And once we have identified the synonymous terms, variant word forms, we need to combine them together. We are not required to search different synonymous keywords in different search queries. No, we need to combine them together. Say, for example, economic development, economic growth, economic progress, India. We are not going to search it again and again. What we are required to do is we need to club them together by using Boolean operators. There are three major Boolean operators: and, or, not. If you apply the Boolean operator not with any of the keyword, that will disappear from your search results. That means that keyword won't be part of your search results. Now two Boolean operators are left: and, or. Use of one will expand the number of results, and use of one will minimize the number of results. One will expand, broaden your search results, search query, and one will limit your search query and provide you less results. When you are using the Boolean operator and, we are looking for two keywords, the first keyword and the second keyword. The meaning is look for both. Say, for example, somebody is looking for information regarding admissions, and he or she is interested in either JNU or Delhi University. So he's making a search for admissions in DU and JNU. What he will retrieve? He will retrieve all those papers where information on admission is given in DU and JNU both. But when he says admissions in DU or JNU, he will retrieve all those papers where information on admissions for DU and JNU is given, or either for DU or for JNU is given. So or means it broadens your search results. It provides from either this or this. In case of AND, it limits your search results because you are looking for something in a context to a particular thing. Now, coming to our example, we can combine it like economic development or economic progress or economic growth and India. Please try to use the Boolean operators as much as possible, and you will love to find the information which is very precise and very relevant to your query. Now, give a context. See, you might be requiring information in a particular context. For example, alimony. Somebody is looking for information on alimony. Now, it has a context. For what purpose? Alimony for what purpose? And this is a legal term. Alimony for what purpose? Okay, the purpose is divorce. Now, if you provide the context divorce to alimony, you will only have information on alimony which is in a context to divorce. So please try to give a context to a particular query. It will make your search more precise because electronically you have access to huge information reservoir. So that is why this context is very much required. And the last, this is very important. Check your spelling, proper spacing and proper punctuation. Please keep in your mind that a misspelled keyword or a misspelled search will automatically confine your search only to those papers where same spelling mistake has taken place. Otherwise, you are not going to find anything. Sorry. So please be sure before searching that you have typed in the correct spelling. There is a correct proper space and proper punctuations are used. Now, coming to some of the important techniques, and they are really very helpful to find more precise, to find more relevant information to a particular query. The first technique, and this is very important, is phrase search. It simply means you can make your query as a phrase for searching information. That means, let me give you an example. If you look for William Shakespeare, you will find a lot of information on William Shakespeare in any database. But some of the information will also be there on William Wordsworth because the term William is common. If you look for Harivansh Rai Bachchan, you will have information on lot of information on Harivansh Rai Bachchan, but you will also have information on other Bachchan other persons of the Bachchan family or other people who are having the same surname Bachchan. Phrase search can be used in the advanced search box of the databases, or even in basic search also, you can make a phrase search by putting double inverted commas. Whatever you are searching, you put that thing in double inverted comma, and your search is a phrase search. That makes your search a phrase search. Where to use it? Phrase search is really helpful in finding information regarding some proper nouns. Name of institutions, name of individual, name of departments, like that. In some of the cases, you can use phrase search for making a search very precise for a particular keyword. So beyond a proper noun also, you can use the phrase search facility for searching information more precisely. The next is field search. That provides you a facility to access your keywords in a particular field, particular information field. Now, what are the information field? You might be looking for an author. You might be looking for a title. You might be interested in a subject. So these are the information fields. Now, say, for example, if somebody is searching for Shakespeare, he was a prolific author. So you might be looking Shakespeare, the keyword Shakespeare as an author. So what you can do on advanced search page, you have the facility to limit your search to a particular field. There you can click to the drop down menu and select the field as author. Wherever the term Shakespeare in title or subject or abstract or keyword has come, that will be excluded from your search. So your search becomes more precise, more relevant. Similarly, you can find any term in author, as a title, as a subject, in the keywords, in the abstract. So this facility is available electronically with all the search engines on their advanced search page. So please use the advanced search page as much as possible and find out very precise and relevant information. We have already seen what are the Boolean operators and how best it can be used. Believe me, friends, if you are interested in a career for research, academics, even if you want to go for legal practices, or if you want to go in judiciary also, such knowledge is very important, because you will have to have a control on the publication of information, and on these tools, on digital platform, on electronic resources, to survive in the coming days, even today and in the coming days. The next method is proximity search. Particularly in a database called JSTOR, you can use this facility called proximity search, where you can decide the proximity of keywords to close to each other, proximity of keywords to each other. That proximity could be for with the words, with the number of words. It could be 5 words, 10 words, 20, 30, like that, or it could be in one single line, or in one paragraph on one page. So this proximity helps you to find out the rare information precisely from the databases. Concept map. Now it is there is one more term used for concept map of searching of by concept map, that is called mind map. And particularly there is a database called Credo Reference, and I ask all of you to please visit the site for Credo Reference through VPN. Nowadays, since you are sitting at your home, you are not allowed to access the subscribed resources directly, but you can access the subscribed resources through VPN. Please have a look to Credo Reference, and that is a wonderful database, particularly for the LLB students. You will have the meaning, the concept, the pronunciation of everything which is available under sky. And concept map helps you to find out everything in a single window. All the results displayed in a single window. You can put your cursor to any of the information. You will find a brief of information, and if you are further interested, you can click to that brief information. You can go to the full text, or you can change from one word to other word. You can keep on changing, and ultimately you can reach to the information which you are looking for. You are not required to skip from first page to second page and so on. Now you are following all the steps, you are following the techniques, and you are able to retrieve only 500 results for a particular query. Believe me, friends, none of you would like to find out or to read those 500 titles which you have retrieved precisely. Then what is the use? And I know basically if we look for anything, for any academic information, we get results in thousands. I'm talking about only 500. Now, once you have retrieved a number of results, you can further refine in databases. You can further refine your search query. You can limit your requirement to something particular. That means you might be interested in a piece of information which is written by a particular scholar. So what you can do, you can limit your search to that particular scholar. You might be interested in a particular title of the journal. You can limit your search to on that concept to a particular journal. You might be interested only in the information which is published in a particular period, or you might be interested for information which is published, which is latest, say for 2019 and 20. So you can limit or refine your search by the period of publication. All these facilities are there. Simply, you need to play with the search engine. You need to understand the system of searching, and then throughout your life, you can reap the benefit of this. You can find out information precisely and which is more relevant to your query. Now, coming to open access resources, I would like to suggest you some of the resources which are really wonderful. And even today, I thought to find out some information which can be of real help to you. So the first is UGC MOOCs. See, on UGC MOOC page, there are 207 undergraduate courses. And for law also, there are courses, there are lectures, there are videos. So please Google it, UGC MOOCs, and you will reach to the site and you can find out your course sitting at your home. See, when we talk about open access digital information resources, they are free and they can be accessed from anywhere. Only you need to have internet in your system. So UGC MOOCs is one of the very important facilities which has been created by the University Grant Commission. EPG Pathshala is again a very important database, although it is more concerned with postgraduate students. But in legal studies, you have a lot of material there. I thought to share with you some of the things by going online. Dr. Meena, should we go online?
Yes, we can try.
Okay, because from clicking here and then I will have to stop sharing and come to the site again. So I'm clicking one, UGC MOOCs. Is this site visible?
Sir, it will take time because some connection issue is there. So it will take time on the displaying on their screen. It will take time.
Okay. Is this visible?
No, sir, it's not visible.
It is not visible. Okay, so what I do, I stop sharing my slides and again come to share the screen again. Okay. And here it is. Now it should be visible.
It's a process. Yes, sir. It's visible now.
It's visible. Yes. Now see, in UGC MOOCs, what I need to do is you press Control F, and if you simply type law, you will find a lot of resources. But see, access to justice, advanced constitutional law, environmental law. So a lot of material on law. This is for PG courses. If you come to UG undergraduate courses, again here a lot of material on law is there. I have seen it. Okay, let me find law. Now see, Introduction to Criminal Law, 30 chapter, Human Rights, Law and Criminal Justice. Then Human Rights, International Law and International Humanitarian Law. Again, Human Rights and Humanitarian Law. So a lot of material on UGC MOOCs, Constitutional Law, Criminal Law and Criminology. Lot of material on UGC MOOCs are available. Cyber law is there. Introduction to Criminal Law is there. And this is really very helpful for LLB students. So I suggest all the students who are participating, even they can communicate with their friends also. Please do use this facility called UGC MOOCs. Now, similarly, you can log into EPG Pathshala, and there you will find textual material and the concept being explained by an expert, as well as you will have some questions to answer. So it's a self-learning module developed by EPG Pathshala. The next one, next database is National Digital Library, NDL. And this is a single platform where you can find access to everything which has been digitized by different agencies in our country. So you don't have to bother about who has digitized what. Only you need to log into NDL website on their platform, and you can, depending upon your information requirement, you can search a particular database or a particular location, or you can search everything. So this NDL is a wonderful source of information, not only for academics, but even for your recreation also. You will have wonderful novels there, and this is a wonderful site. Okay, there are some sites which are really very helpful, particularly in this period of time, to find out full text of books. One such site, and I believe some of you might already be using, or you might be knowing about this, that is PDF Drive, pdfdrive.net. It's a wonderful site, and you can download full text of books. And this site is being updated every minute, and they claim that 50 new book titles are added every minute, and you can find a lot of books there. Similarly, and I have seen that there are books related to law on these sites. That is why, after verifying, I'm adding this. You have bookboon.com, minibooks.net, getfreebooks.com, freecomputerbooks.com, essays, Spark Notes, and pinkmonkey.com. So these are some of the sites where you will have access to free books, and that can be downloaded. In some of the sites, you might be required to register and read free online. Particularly for Bookboon, you need to register yourself as a student, and you can read the books free online. There are a large number of electronic thesis and dissertation sites which provides access to a lot number of theses, open access. And see, as a LLB student, you might be surprised why I'm telling you that you look to the electronic thesis and dissertations, because in some of the theses you will find some of the chapters very really useful for you. So these are some of the list, like the digital repository at the University of Maryland. It's a wonderful site. Mahatma Gandhi University is from India. They have put all their thesis collection online. Particular emphasis is on PQDT Open. This is ProQuest Dissertation and Thesis Open Access platform. And you can simply Google PQDT Open, and the first result will be PQDT Open. Log to it. Lot of material, not only from India, from the entire world, is available on PQDT Open, and you will feel privileged to have information from PQDT Open, which is of quality, which is of international quality. So please, you can refer to PQDT Open also. And if you are interested for only the Indian thesis, the Sodh Ganga is there. You can log on to Sodh Ganga, and you can find 100,000 theses, more than 100,000 theses from different universities in our country. So whatever I have explained to you, that was only indicative in open access resources. If you wish, you can have a larger list at the website of Delhi University Library System, that is crl.du.ac.in/OA. OA stands for open access. crl.du.ac.in/OA. Please visit there, and you can find even many times more open access resources which I have just spoken of. Now coming to the subscribed digital information resources which are available to you. But the big question is how to access. In this period of time when you are confined to your homes, how to access, because the subscribed resources are accessible only on IP range. That means whenever you are on the IP of Delhi University, you can have access to that. Nothing to worry. What is there? See this everything, all this information is available on university website. So I'm just simply explaining to you. University has started a VPN service, that is virtual private network. So sitting from your home, you can virtually come to university and you can access all the subscribed databases. This is on your fingertips now. So what you need to do, open your internet browser and put this URL address, click, you will have the window. Now you need to put your ID and password. What is your ID and password? Your ID and password for Wi-Fi is the ID and password for VPN. Now, if some of you are not having ID and password for Wi-Fi, what you can do? Online, fill up a form on DUCC, Delhi University Computer Center online services page. Fill up your form, put your details, and they will message you your Wi-Fi ID and password. And that by using that, you can access all the resources sitting from your home. I have confirmed it before coming to you. I spoke to one of the programmers there, and he briefed me that any one of you, all the LLB students, those who are not having ID and password for your Wi-Fi, campus Wi-Fi, you can avail the online facility and you can get your ID and password created. So once you are logged in, you will come to this page. And when you are on this page, you click to this CRL and you have all the resources listed there where you can freely search. Very simple. It's almost 3-4 step process, and that can easily be done. We are accessing everything from our home, sitting over here, and we are facilitating whosoever is requiring any information from these databases. If you have any problem in the entire process, you can contact to vpn@ducc.du.ac.in. It's a mail ID. You can write to them. Now coming to the subscribed databases, you might be aware that we subscribe to a good number of legal databases like Corporate Law Advisor, Legal Pundits, LexisNexis, Making of Modern Law, Manupatra. So these databases you can access when you have the ID and password. You can go through the VPN, but this is not everything. This is not what legal information is available to you. Beyond this, and let me tell you, I'm trying with Dr. JP Meena to organize specific program database wise, because when you learn to use a particular database in an efficient way, that is also a knowledge. Because once you pass out LLB and go to the job market, whether either in advocacy or in judiciary, these databases will remain there and you will be using them. So we are also planning to have specific training programs for these legal databases. We are in the process, and we are likely to organize these programs in next 1 week or maximum in 2 weeks. Beyond these legal databases also, there are a lot of material which deals with legal studies, and some of these materials, this is, since you are in LLB, this is only for your information, and if you feel you can look to it. Some of these materials are really very important. See, the first example is Science Direct. They are the world's topmost publisher, and they not publish only for sciences, they also publish for social sciences, arts and humanities. And in Science Direct, large number of journals, law journals are there, which you can access from the Science Direct only. They are not available elsewhere in any other database. So you need to go to Science Direct also. The next database is Wiley Online Library. Fine, this is very strong in sciences, but it also, this is a generic database, and they also provide access to law journals. They provide access to almost all the subject journals from for almost all the subject, and including law. Although they are strong in sciences, but their journals for law are very important. So please do visit Wiley Online Library. Then you have annual reviews. Although this may be of a little use to you in your LLB, but please remember annual reviews are very important for research assignment. And if you are required to do some research, big or small, in LLB, you should definitely have a look to annual reviews of law, annual review of law and social sciences. And what annual, I'm sorry, what annual reviews do, they provide you review of all the researches in past year. So if you read some articles from annual review, they will simply ignite your mind and help you to find out what to research and how to research. So please, big or small, whatever assignments, whatever researches are given to you, have a look to annual reviews and spend some time in reading some of the journals, some of the research papers from annual review. We also have access to the law journals, which is published by Sage Journals Online. You know, Sage is very important, particularly in social sciences. So you can have important journals from Sage. Similarly, this is ABI Inform Complete, and they are not publisher, they are aggregated databases. So what we have large number of journals on a single platform at a very subsidized rate of expenditure. And in some of the cases for journals from ABI Inform Complete, you may not have access to the recent issues of the journals. But please believe me, if you are interested in the recent issue of the journal, you will have it accessible in 80 to 90% cases from the publisher side. So it provides access to a large number of resources on a single platform. As a student, you should put some of your time on ABI Inform Complete also to find out quality information from the world publishers. Then we have Cambridge University Press. They provide access to 220 leading journals, including journals from law. So please do visit to Cambridge University Press. JSTOR. It's again an aggregated database, but it's wonderful. And there are good number of journals on law, criminology and criminal justice from JSTOR. So please visit the database JSTOR also for legal information. Similar to Cambridge University Press, Oxford University Press, all their journals are accessible to you. They have very renowned journals, particularly for law from Oxford University Press. Please visit the site and find out the information required for you. I spoke to you about PQDT Open, which is an open access thesis and dissertation database. We do have a subscribed database for thesis and dissertations that is called UMI database. So those who are having their VPN ID and password, they can have a look to UMI database also. And this is very important database as far as thesis and dissertations are concerned. Now, I feel you have access to a large information. There is no dearth of information. It is available in abundance. Now, the question is how to use that information. The technology of CCP is no more reliable. That is cut, copy, paste, because whether it is a big assignment or a small assignment, when you are submitting for a degree, it is required to be checked for plagiarism. And plagiarism is a big issue. You are not ethical. If you are plagiarizing something, you are not ethical. You are involved in research misconduct. And believe me, friends, if you are involving yourself in research misconduct at this stage, you are not going to learn, you are not going to do something great in future. So this is very important. From here itself, be ethical. Ethical in use of information. Properly follow the information use ethics and what it is. Now, see, when we talk about research and we are required to be ethical in reporting the research, it could be small or it could be big. It doesn't matter whether it is big or small, but you are required to be ethical while reporting, while conducting your research as well as reporting your research. Now, when we talk about research means search something again, and what we can search something again, we can search something again which is already existing. That means research is not conducted in isolation. Research itself says research. So what we do, we build the building of research on the basis of already existing ideas, documents, facts, monographs. A lot variety of formats are there for information. So when we are using others, already existing works of others, how we are using that? We are using the information, already existing information, by way of quote, by way of summarizing, by way of paraphrasing. These are three important ways of borrowing the information from others and using for a particular or for a specific purpose in your academic writing, in your research writing, right? What we are required to do, we are required to be ethical. Whatever we are borrowing, we are required to cite it properly cite, right? Once you are citing everything properly in a particular citation style which is recommended or which is required, you are not plagiarizing. It could be similar. If you quote something, that has to be similar. Please remember, similarity is not plagiarism. Similarity only indicates that it is similar to this. So whatever you are quoting, that has to be similar. But whatever you are summarizing indicates that you can summarize a 500 pages book in 2 or 3 lines or 5 lines. So that should be your own language. You cannot copy from somewhere and you say that I'm summarizing. No, you should have read that book, or you should have read part of that book and you would have got the idea, and then you are writing that. Paraphrasing is rewriting a particular paragraph in similar number of words in your own language. And for quotes, you need to cite. For summaries, you need to cite to indicate that from where you have taken this idea or this information. For paraphrase material also, it is, although it is in almost similar number of words, you are also, for paraphrase material also, you are required to put a proper citation. Now, there is a question of literature review, that when I am reviewing the same literature which has been reviewed by others, it has to be similar. No, not at all. If you are reading the original document and you are reviewing yourself, it is not going to be similar. So please avoid the similarity. Be an ethical user of information. You will have a very glorious days in your life. There is a last point was of self-plagiarism or self-citation. Now UGC has come up with a public notice on 20th of April that self-plagiarism has to be minimized. Anybody who has published a research paper or a document, if self-plagiarism is detected, he will have to face the penalties. Now, self-plagiarism is what? I have written a paper previously, or I'm using the information in my from my previous paper to a new paper. So that is a kind of plagiarism. That is called self-plagiarism. Now, the point is how to avoid it, or how to escape being plagiarist. How you can avoid it? First thing is, be honest and cite everything properly, whether you are borrowing some idea, whether you are borrowing some language. In all cases, whether you are borrowing some data, in all cases, you should be honest. To whom? Honest to yourself, honest to your learning. See, you know, the most important reason for plagiarism is language issue, language problem. Students, they feel that their language is not so elegant as the language of the author. Fine. Nobody is expecting a student to write a language like a scholar or like a professional author. Language from a student has to be a language from a student. So please learn how to voice your own mind, how to voice your own idea in your own words. Be honest to yourself, to your learning, to your family, to your friends, to your supervisor, everyone. Cite everything properly. Be organized from beginning till end of your research, big or small. How it could be organized? Say, whenever you are quoting something, while you are writing the first draft itself, put a capital Q before and after whatever you are quoting, along with the reference. Put a capital S before and after whatever you are summarizing, along with the reference. Put a capital P before and after whatever you are paraphrasing, along with the reference from your first draft. To remind you, whenever you are looking to that draft, to remind you that what you have quoted, what you have summarized, what you have paraphrased, and from where, right? Kindly do note down the references whenever you are writing the information. That will help you to be honest. That will help you to avoid plagiarism. So be organized. Use your own language, not as much as possible, as much as required. 100% accept whatever you are quoting. Try to use your own language. Let me show you a particular slide for paraphrasing. There is a confusion. Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Visible. Now see, paraphrasing means rewriting the same information in a different language. Now what people use to take paraphrasing, that they change some words with the synonymous terms. They change the voice from active to passive, passive to active, and they feel that they have used their own words. No, that is not proper paraphrasing. What we can see on the screen, the original is there and the paraphrased paragraph is below that. It simply indicates the quality of imitation of the writer, how beautifully he has tried to copy or imitate the information from the original paragraph. This is not paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means rewriting. Here is the original and the interpretation of the original in your own words, in the writer's own language. See, paraphrasing requires understanding of the paragraph. Let me be very clear with you, friends. If you do not understand the information in a paragraph, if you do not understand the piece of information which you are using, you are not doing anything. Unless you understand, you won't be able to rewrite it properly. So paraphrasing is not imitation. Paraphrasing reflects your understanding. And the best way is read a paragraph or read a research paper. Just note down the bullet points, and then without seeing the research paper, on the basis of those bullet points, you rewrite your own information or the same information in your own language. That will help you greatly. So it is, paraphrasing is understanding, not the imitation. One more important thing is, please be sure that you are using one citation format, and that is correct citation format. If there is a mistake in the citation, mistake of a double space, mistake of a comma instead of semicolon, any punctuational mistake, that everything amounts to plagiarism. You have cited everything, but there is some mistake in the citation. So that is also a part of plagiarism. Be sure whenever you are submitting a document, get it checked for similarity. That will help you to avoid plagiarism after all your precautions. So this is all about from my side. Dr. Meena, now I'm open to the audience if they wish to ask me some questions or if they wish to observe, give some observations.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for your enlightening, useful presentation. I'm hopeful that it will help to all the students to for their future use, because this is the time period, because the ongoing COVID-19 crisis is going, and our teaching learning process continue with the help of the resources, and hence to know the process to access illegal resources from their home is necessary for the law students as well as the for faculty members, so they get access to of all resources.
Okay, Dr. Meena, I have a question. How can I get ID and password?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Vishal, you need to
also. So I will convey, because many of cannot see. One thing I'm also informing to all the participants, if they want ask the question orally through that in the situation, they can raise hand and I will enable their voice, so they can also interact interactively. Okay, so now there is one question is there. The first question which I got is that okay, what is the login password to be used for UGC MOOC? The first question, sir.
It is open access, no ID password required.
Okay, sir. The second question is that what way we can get password to access e-materials described by you, which is available in our law faculty library?
Simply you go to DUCC website. There you will find a form. You fill up the form for your Wi-Fi ID and password. Submit that form, and you will have your ID and password on your mobile directly delivered to your mobile, so that you can use.
Okay, sir. So second question is that how, it's a very technical question, that how can we avoid plagiarism in case of technical concepts? We cannot change words or sentence to a very great extent, since our own language is also going to be very similar to original text.
See, since I'm dealing with the plagiarism in university, I have a different view. See, the system of the software is such that if you try to be smart by changing some words or changing some voice, it will catch you. But if you write yourself, see, sometimes I could find some similarity for my papers also, because when you are writing on a particular concept, already people have written, and there could be something similar. But that can be avoided, because even 10% limit is already available there. 10% similarity is allowed level of similarity, so that can be allowed. That is not a big issue. There is one copy of slides. Okay, I will share these slides with Dr. Meena, and he will send to all of you.
Yes, sir. This video is also available on YouTube, so you can also get access, and we will also provide that. So one question is from our colleague, Dr. Harleen ma'am, and the question is that how to get access to software Turnitin for going through students' dissertation chapters.
I believe this question is from PIC Law Center 1.
No, this is from the our colleague working in Campus Law Center, and Dr. Harleen Kaur.
Okay. So on university website, we have simply given an ID and password. You are required to send the chapters, the theses, the assignments to that email ID, and we will do it. And by mail, we will send you the report. And we are doing this.
The second question is from Mohit Gupta. Can I cite this? This is a very interesting question. That can I cite my own article, which is accepted by publisher, to publish but not yet published due to frequency of publication?
Yes, you can cite your public own article. See, as per UGC public notice, self-citation is not counted, and not by UGC only. Self-citation is not counted a World Academia. So if it is not necessary, don't cite your own research paper, because that is not going to help you. But if it is at all necessary for your new research to cite your old research, do it. And if it is not published, you can, by the time the things are finalized, your old article will get published, because a quality research paper is never published in 1 month or 2 months. It takes at least 6 months period of time. So by the way, by the time you revise and finally reach for your publication, you can have your old article published.
Okay,
so there
sir.
you can cite.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. One question from Manas is that, do we have the subscription to the SSC online in our library?
Yeah.
Yes, we have the
Yes.
subscription of the SSC online in our library. You can get access. One question is from the Ankur Pandey. Since we have many textbooks in our library which are prescribed in our course material, can we somehow get access of e-books, because soft copy of many of these books are not available?
See, the print material, as per the government norms, we don't have access to the print materials. Even if I wish, I cannot have access to the print material. So this is, who is saying we cannot access SSC online from remote access? Okay, I will respond to you. In this period of time, we don't have access to the print material, and we won't be able to access it. Somebody raised a question that on remote access, they are not having access to SSC online. Let me tell you, my friend, the access of the databases are checked every day. Every day, one of his staff is working every day and sees finding whether all the databases are accessible or not. But even if you find any difficulty, please mail us that particular database is not accessible. Believe me, every day from home also, I open my mail account twice, morning and evening. So it will be resolved, not an issue.
Okay, sir. One question is from our colleague, Dr. Amrinder Ajit, and the question is that, are we going to subscribe and online?
Yes, I got this in question answer request also. See, we are trying to, we are recommending the subscription of HEEN online, I think since last 3-4 years. But because of some, particularly the budgetary constraint, we are not able to access it. We are not able to subscribe it. But we have already recommended. And every year we are recommending that we need access to HEEN online. So we are already behind this access of HEEN online.
One colleague, our senior colleague, is also asking the one question, Dr. Alok Sharma, that please explain the concept map again.
Good afternoon, ma'am. The concept map is a single window presentation of all the results which is retrieved by you. So there you can put your cursor to any of the concept, find a brief information about the concept, and then if you are interested further, you can click and go to the full text. So it makes the things easy. Instead of going from one page to other page, you can find everything on the single page.
Okay. Another question is that please explain Shodh Ganga in brief.
Shodh Ganga, it's a repository of theses and dissertations from all the Indian universities. So whatever has been awarded for the thesis, whatever thesis the degree has been awarded, those theses are full text freely available in Shodh Ganga. You can simply type in Google Shodh Ganga and you can go to the site.
Okay, so most of the answer is answered by this beautifully by Dr. Rajesh Singh. If still anyone have the question, they can raise their hand. We can enable their voice so they can ask the questions. If anyone have, okay, there is one question is also coming from Yamini, and this is on the DUCC website. The form available for Wi-Fi is for PG and PhD students. So what about the LLB students?
No, what is LLB? PG or UG?
Yamini, our LLB course comes under the PG, so you can get access of that.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was asking Yamini only that what you treat LLB as PG or UG. So it is a PG course, and I have got it confirmed. My friend in the UCC, he told me that LLB is treated as a PG course because after graduation, after completing your UG course, you have come to LLB. So it's a PG course, and you can have it.
Okay, sir. By this platform, many our alumni is also joined us, and one question is from their side. So one our alumni is asking the question. I would like to know whether alumni of the law centers, law faculty may be granted access to DU law library.
See, if you come physically when the library is operational, we allow. Physically, we allow. But for this e-access, you need to have the ID and password from computer center, and they won't allow you because they won't provide you the Wi-Fi ID and password. So it is difficult for remote access. But once we are operational, you can come to the library physically.
Okay. There is a one question the Rameshwar Dayal is going to ask. Yes, Rameshwar, you can talk. You can raise your
Yes,
question.
रामेश्वर दयाल जी बोलिए. I can hear you. आप अपने माइक को ऑफ करके बोलिए, ऑन करके बोलिए.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good noon.
I would like to ask, can we integrate these resources, open access resources in our search engine?
Which search engine? Or you want to put it on your website?
Yeah, our
Yes,
local
yes.
search engine.
Yes, you can integrate. I don't hold any copyright on these open access resources. This is for the benefit of academia.
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Thank
you can
you.
do it.
Okay, if anyone have the question, they can raise hand and we can enable them. One question is also coming that SCC or Manupatra, which would you suggest for subscription in future?
Both are subscribed. In university, we subscribe both. And the quality and everything has to be decided by the subject experts.
Okay. One question that Lakshman Rao is want to ask directly to you. Yes, Lakshman Rao, you can ask.
Sir, namaskar.
Hello, Dr. Rajesh, wonderful presentation.
Thank you, sir.
But you could have also added which are copyright-free resources because there are plenty are there. Because you added PDF drive, that's why I'm telling you.
Sir. We have kept everything, all the information on our university website. So this presentation was simply an indicative that what open access material is available. So it was only indicative.
I agree, Dr. Rajesh, because you have given and everybody is looking forward a lot of information, and then it guides them to come to you. So there are other copyright free. Like take an example of Europeana, or you can take the Hathi Trust. A couple of things you could have told. Probably it would have been more beneficial. What you did is a wonderful job, I'm telling you. It would have been more beneficial for them.
Agreed, sir. Agreed.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
There is one question is also coming from our colleague who is working in our campus law center, and this is the question from our Dr. Rahul. And the question is that can we access Manupatra and SCC online through VPN?
Rahul ji, namaskar.
Yes, sir. You can answer directly.
Rahul ji, namaskar.
Sir, he is not available on that version.
Okay. So you can access everything through VPN, which is accessible in Delhi University. Everything.
Okay. So, sir, most of the questions is answered.
That means one can access SSC and Manupatra both through VPN.
Okay. One question is also coming from our final year students. He is going to graduate this year, and this is the question is from Deepak. Yes, Deepak, you can ask direct question.
Yes, Deepak, tell me.
Deepak.
Thank you so much for wonderful session, sir. And
thank you.
So apart from research work, please enlighten us. How can we prepare for our examination, as we don't have access to library books. So is there any way we can find out and we can prepare for our examination to come?
See, this presentation was only for the digital content or electronic content which is available to you through open access or through subscription. The print content, we don't have any way out to deliver you the print content, but I believe that whatever open access sites, like particularly like MOOCs and EPG Pathshala, they are quality material. Please visit there once, and they will really be helpful to you. If you have further issues with your information requirement, you can consult first you try to consult your faculty members and then your PICs. And if further there is some problem, we can sit together or we can talk together and we can find out some way out.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
There is one thanks from our senior colleague, Dr. Alka Chawla, and he wants to thanks you for this beautiful informative session. Ma'am, you can also directly, you can give the thanks, ma'am. I enable your audio, ma'am. Please do.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Dr. Rajesh. Wonderful and very informative presentation. I just wanted to thank you. Even I don't have a Wi-Fi password, so I think I'm going to start doing this. I was wondering how to go about with this. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right, ma'am. Right, ma'am.
Okay, so we almost cover all the questions. So I don't think that any question remain unanswered. One special question. Okay, so Alok Sharma is also saying thanks to you, sir. So we are getting the thanks from all of these, sir, because of this beautiful presentation which is given by you, and I'm also personally thanks on the behalf of the Campus Law Center. Now, there is one during your presentation you prescribed that why we should not have the individual online workshop because there are various illegal sources, Manpatra, SCC online. So we should we are in the process of that, and we will communicate in once it is confirmed. So we will update through our social media channels that are on videos, because we are also available on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. So almost all these social media platforms, our Campus Law Center is available now, and we are making it to make more closer to the students as well as the faculty also. So now, if I think any other question is remained answered, and thank you coming there. Professor PP Pakija is also saying thank you for that decision. And there's one request is coming from the Ankur that I have a request. Please ask the computer center service to respond to our request on Wi-Fi username. I think Ankur, this question is not related to this.
No, see, let me tell you, Dr. Meena, let me tell Ankur. Before coming to this webinar, I spoke to one of the programmers in Delhi University Computer Center, and he said, you fill up the form, submit there, and they will respond to your query. There is no issue that they won't respond. We all are for the students. So whatever is possible, we will definitely do for the students.
Okay, so this question is very beautifully answered, and I don't think that if any still any question remain unanswered in the situation now. So sir, thank you for coming on this platform. And what I think that this service is very useful, because during the ongoing crisis we cannot access our library. So that you tell the process that how to access the library from your home. So in the situation, thank you on behalf of all the part. I'm also thank you to all the participants. Large number, more than 200 participants registered, but because of some technical issues and the connectivity issue, they cannot get access on the Zoom. And
Dr. Meena, I could see in the chat box that people from all over the India, they are viewing this program, and some Symbiosis Law School in Hyderabad, they might be sending you a request to organize such program for their students also. So congratulations to you.
Sir, with your collaboration, we will do more and more. And sir, this is the advantage of the platform, digital platform, that Facebook live streaming, that this video is accessible through any part of the country also. So we are thankful to all also. Okay, so friends, now since the Dr. Rajesh is all question, all answer your all the questions, all the queries, we are coming. We will see you very soon with that. So please join. See you soon with another webinar. Thank you on behalf of Campus Law Center. See you soon.